Breaking Down the Law is sponsored by Battle-Born Injury Lawyers.
All right, we are breaking down the law as we do each and every Wednesday. In the aftermath of the protests, some obviously that are still ongoing following the death of George Floyd, there is this new push to defund police departments. It's become a very big issue in a lot of major cities. In fact, you have Mayor Bill de Blasio out of New York announcing his intent to reduce police funding and direct resources toward other programs. The Minneapolis City Council unanimously approving a measure to restructure their police force, and other large cities addressing this issue as well and figuring out if this is a way that they want to move. So let's get into this with our Matt Hoffmann of Battle-Born Lawyers. You know, Matt, this is a meaty issue. There's a lot to it. I think, first of all, let's just start with the idea of defunding the police. I don't think people really know exactly what that entails.
Well, it's a horrible title, to be honest. I mean, defund the police is so extreme that it's scary. The idea that we're just it makes it sound like the idea is to just completely eliminate police departments in large metropolitan areas. And I mean, there are groups that literally want that. I mean, I think we saw in Seattle last night. There's extreme groups that want that. But I mean, even Joe Biden has distanced himself from this messaging, like, well, I don't want to defund completely or eradicate law enforcement. So I think when you dig deeper into it and what the Minneapolis and the larger cities like New York are doing is they're looking at it and they're saying, let's take money that's currently going to the police departments and let's take away some of this non-traditional law enforcement activities that police have started to be, have been doing for decades, and let's instead come up with new departments to handle those activities.
Gotcha. So basically, we're looking at some of these outreach or social programs that maybe police have taken on and finding ways to reroute that funding so that some of these maybe more non-traditional ways of approaching handling some of these situations in the community wouldn't necessarily be handled by police per se.
Yeah, and that's what this is really coming. I mean, that's the political answer to this. So there's this demand to defund the police. So they come out and say, yes, we're looking at this. We're going to reorganize things. What they're really getting at is there's a lot of layers of things that police do, such as, let's say that, a classic example is that, let's say there's a suicide crisis, a mental health crisis, and you've got somebody that's a jumper. Do we really need people with guns responding to that is the question. Or it's a mental health crisis. Why aren't we having social workers, mental health professionals responding? Drug overdoses. It's more of a medical issue. I mean, I can say that one is overwhelming for first responders like the fire departments. But the question is, do we need people with guns showing up to a drug overdose? Domestic disturbances, nonviolent ones, where it's just words. Do police really need to be mediating those things? DARE programs in schools. Do we need police resources for DARE programs? Again, people with guns coming to schools. Homeless people, dealing with homeless people and redirecting them to resources. The question is that really for the police? So that's the idea is, should we come up with new departments to handle a lot of those activities that really aren't law enforcement? And by doing so, take the burden off the police and take away the negative interactions on a repeated basis that you're seeing with law enforcement and the public. I guess my concern is, practically speaking, why did we have police do these things in the first place? And I think the answer is because they're already there. They're out on the street. They're dealing with homeless people, and or domestic disturbances, and these things can escalate. So practically speaking, is this actually going to happen? My answer is I don't know. I've never seen more bureaucracy necessarily be a good thing. But I think that's the concept. The concept is, let's take some of this burden off the police. Let's create new departments that specialize in these certain activities and handle it that way.
Matt Hoffmann,
Yes.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you for lending your expertise to this. And it's a debate and discussion, like we said, that will definitely continue for quite some time. Breaking down the law every Wednesday that we do right here on News 3. We'll see you again next week.
All right. Thank you.